Namaste, everyone. Today I want to take you on a little journey not through busy cities, not through noisy roads, but to a quiet mountain village in Nepal. Imagine waking up in the morning, the air so fresh it feels like it's washing your heart clean. You hear birds singing, the river whispering, and the wind playing with the trees. That's how life begins in a mountain village. Now, picture this, the green paddy fields shining under the sun, each terrace stepped like a stairway to heaven. The farmers are planting rice, their feet in cool mud, smiling and laughing as they work together. It's not just farming, it's a celebration. Even the mountains seem to smile when the golden rice sways in the breeze. Life there is so simple, no hurry, no stress, just the rhythm of nature. Children run barefoot, chasing dragonflies. Women sing folk songs while planting seedlings. Grandparents sit outside their homes, telling stories while sipping warm milk tea. Doesn't it sound like the most relaxing place in the world? Living with nature in these villages teaches us something important. Happiness doesn't come from shopping malls or gadgets. It comes from the earth, the sky, the water, and from sharing life with each other. So whenever life feels too heavy, I imagine myself walking through those paddy fields, breathing the mountain air and listening to the peaceful silence of nature. That, for me, is the true meaning of relaxation. Thank you. When we talk about the fresh mountain air and peaceful village life, the first thing that comes to mind is how different it feels from the city. In the city, the air is always heavy, carrying dust, smoke, and the noise of vehicles. But in a Nepali mountain village, the air feels alive. Each breath feels like you are drinking pure water, only in the form of air. It touches your skin softly, and as you breathe it in, it seems to refresh not only your body, but also your heart and mind. The morning air, especially, is crisp and cool, carrying the scent of dew on the grass and the fragrance of flowers that bloom quietly along the edges of the fields. Even before you open your eyes, the mountain breeze whispers around your bed, inviting you to step outside and greet the day. The peaceful life in a mountain village flows with this fresh air like a song. You don't hear traffic horns or loudspeakers. Instead, you hear the songs of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the gentle call of a rooster in the distance. Sometimes the bells on the necks of goats create a soft, playful sound as they move together to graze. Each sound belongs to nature, and together they make a harmony that feels like a gift. The village itself is slow and calm. People rise with the sun, not with alarms. The rhythm of life is guided by the sky and the earth, not by a clock. Even the silence in the mountains is not empty. It is full of life, full of calm energy that makes you want to pause and just listen. When you step out of a small wooden house or a stone built home in the village, you are greeted not by pollution, but by views of mountains covered in mist and sunlight falling over the green terraces. The cool breeze carries the smell of soil and herbs, and every inhale feels healing. The children in the village breathe this air every day as they run barefoot on the grassy paths, and maybe that is why their laughter sounds so free. The old people sit on porches or under trees, taking deep breaths of this clean air as they talk to neighbors, and you can see the peace shining in their faces. The mountain air has a magic that makes even the simplest life feel rich. It is not only about the physical freshness of the air, it is also about the peace it brings inside. Breathing in such air clears the mind of worries. The busy thoughts of yesterday, the pressure of tomorrow, all seem to melt when you stand still and take in the endless horizon. The mountains stand tall and quiet, as if reminding you to be strong and calm too. The rivers sparkle in the sunlight, moving swiftly yet peacefully, as if teaching you that life can flow without noise. Each inhale connects you with this rhythm of nature. You feel grounded, you feel present, and you feel light. The peaceful lifestyle of the mountain village is woven into this environment. People live close to the land, depending on it for food and shelter, and respecting it deeply. Days are filled with simple tasks like tending to animals, farming, collecting firewood, or walking along the paths that wind through fields and hills. These tasks might sound ordinary, but in the village, they are done slowly and mindfully. often with smiles, conversations, and songs. Without the rush and stress of city life, even hard work feels balanced. When people finish their day's labor, they sit outside together in the cool evening air, sharing stories as the sky turns orange and purple. The peacefulness of the mountain village is not about doing nothing. It is about doing everything in a way that feels natural and unhurried. The rhythm of life is soft yet steady, like the sound of the breeze through the trees. In the morning, you might hear a flute being played by a shepherd watching over goats. At noon, the fields echo with laughter as families work side by side. By night, the entire village rests under a sky full of stars, the air so clear that you feel the stars are closer than anywhere else. The freshness of the mountain air carries through the entire day, keeping everyone connected to the earth and to each other. When you live in such a place, even your thoughts begin to slow down. The heart beats in harmony with the world around you, and you realize how peaceful life can be when it is lived close to nature. The beauty of paddy fields and rice farming traditions in a Nepali mountain village is something that feels like a painting that moves with life. When you look down from a hilltop, the fields stretch like green stairways, layer upon layer, carved carefully into the slopes of the mountains. Each terrace holds water that reflects the sky like a mirror, so the land becomes a mixture of earth and sky, blending together in a breathtaking way. In the early morning, when mist rises from the valley, the terraces shine softly under the sun, and the fields look as though they are floating in clouds. This beauty is not made by machines or concrete. It is crafted by the hands of farmers who, for generations, have shaped the land to live in harmony with it. Every curve of the terrace is a reminder of patience, care, and respect for nature. Rice farming traditions bring life into these beautiful terraces. Planting season is one of the most joyful times in the village. Families, neighbors, and friends gather in the muddy fields, their feet sinking into the soft soil as they plant seedlings one by one. The air is filled with laughter and playful songs that keep the rhythm of their work. It is not just labor, but a festival of togetherness. Women often sing folk tunes that echo across the valley, their voices rising and falling like the hills themselves. Even children join, splashing in the water and carrying tiny bundles of seedlings with pride. The sight of everyone working together in harmony with the land makes the fields even more beautiful because the beauty is not just in the view, but in the life it holds. The cycle of rice farming is deeply tied to tradition. Before planting, elders often perform small rituals, offering flowers, rice, or milk to the gods of nature, asking for good harvests and protection from storms. These rituals are not grand ceremonies but heartfelt moments that show gratitude to the earth. It is a way of saying thank you before taking from the soil. As the plants grow taller and turn the fields from bright green to deep golden, the villagers care for them with patience. They remove weeds, guide water into the terraces, and watch carefully for pests. Each task is done with a sense of duty, not only for food, but also for the continuation of tradition. The knowledge of how to care for the rice, how to balance water, and when to plant and harvest is passed down like a treasure from one generation to another. When harvest season arrives, the beauty of the fields changes again. The golden rice sways gently in the mountain wind, shining under the autumn sun like waves of light. The whole village comes alive once more as families gather to cut the stalks, tie them into bundles, and stack them neatly. It is hard work, but no one complains because it is the reward of months of care. The joy of harvest is shared with food, music, and gatherings where people celebrate not just the rice itself, but the bond of working together. Even the way the harvested bundles are stacked into tall pyramids in the fields adds to the scenery, making the land look festive and alive. The cycle of planting and harvesting is more than farming. It is a rhythm of life that shapes the culture of the village. The beauty of the paddy fields is also seen in how they change with the seasons. In spring, They are flooded with water and reflect the blue of the sky and the white of the clouds. In summer, they turn into carpets of bright green, soft and full of energy. In autumn, they become golden seas of ripened rice that glow in the sunlight. In winter, after the harvest, the terraces rest quietly, some filled with dry grass, others with vegetables planted to keep the soil alive. Each season offers its own face, and each face is part of the beauty that never fades. The terraces are alive, always changing, always carrying the spirit of the people who care for them. The traditions of rice farming are not only about food, but also about community. They bring people together in a way that no market or office could. Neighbors help each other without being asked, knowing that when their own time comes, they will receive the same kindness. Children grow up watching and learning, not through textbooks, but by feeling the mud under their feet and hearing the songs of planting days. The beauty of the paddy fields is woven into their childhood memories, and as they grow older, they carry those traditions with them. The fields are not just fields. They are classrooms, playgrounds, and stages where life unfolds naturally. The balance between human hands and natural land creates a harmony that feels timeless. The simple joys of community and togetherness in a Nepali mountain village are found in the small details of everyday life that often go unnoticed in busy cities. In these villages, people live close to one another not just physically but emotionally. Every house is part of a larger family, and every neighbor feels like kin. When the sun rises, the smell of firewood fills the air as kitchens begin to glow with warmth. And it is common to see neighbors greeting each other before they even start their own day. The exchange of a smile, a few kind words, or a helping hand sets the rhythm of life. These simple interactions build a foundation of togetherness that makes village life so peaceful and fulfilling. Children play freely in the courtyards and on the grassy paths that connect one home to another. Their laughter echoes across the hills, sometimes mixing with the sound of goats or the gentle clucking of chickens. There are no playgrounds with shiny equipment, but there are trees to climb, stones to skip across streams, and open fields where games are invented with nothing more than sticks and imagination. These shared moments of play create bonds that last a lifetime, and the older children naturally look after the younger ones, as if the whole community is raising every child together. It is in these everyday acts of care that togetherness shows its truest form. When farming season comes, the sense of community grows even stronger. Planting and harvesting are never solitary tasks, but collective efforts where everyone participates. A family working in the fields can always count on neighbors joining them, whether to plant rice seedlings under the hot sun or to cut golden stalks in the cool autumn breeze. Work becomes lighter because it is filled with laughter, songs, and conversation. The rhythm of voices rises above the fields as people encourage each other, tease each other, and share stories. In return, when another household needs help, the favor is gladly returned without question. This cycle of giving and receiving strengthens the trust among villagers, creating a bond that feels unbreakable. The women of the village often gather at the communal water tap or by the river to wash clothes and utensils. These gatherings are not just about chores, but about connection. They talk, joke, share news, and sometimes sing together while scrubbing clothes on smooth stones. These moments of togetherness make even daily tasks feel joyful. Children often play nearby, splashing in the water while their mothers keep a watchful eye. The men may gather in the evening after work, sitting in small circles on the porches or beneath trees, talking about farming, weather, or simply enjoying quiet company with a cup of tea. These ordinary scenes reflect the beauty of community life, where no one feels alone because daily routines are shared with others. Festivals in the village highlight this spirit of togetherness in a brighter way. When a festival arrives, it is not celebrated by one family, but by the whole community as if the entire village is one household. Houses are decorated, traditional foods are prepared in large quantities, and music and dance fill the air. Children wear their best clothes and run from one house to another, while elders sit proudly watching the celebrations unfold. During these times, wealth or status does not matter because everyone shares what they have. A neighbor's happiness becomes your happiness, and the joy of community shines even more brightly. These festivals remind the villagers that life is sweetest when it is shared. Another simple joy of community is seen in the way villagers care for one another during difficult times. If someone falls ill, neighbors come with herbs, food, or just comforting words. If a family faces hardship, others step forward to help without expecting anything in return. It is this willingness to stand together in both good and bad times that gives mountain villages their deep sense of security. Life may not always be easy in the hills, but with community, struggles feel lighter because they are carried together. The togetherness also extends to celebrations of small achievements, not only big festivals. When a child does well in school, neighbors congratulate the parents. When someone builds a new house or finishes a harvest, others come to celebrate. These shared joys are not grand or expensive, but they carry deep meaning because they remind everyone that happiness grows when it is multiplied. In the same way, even small gatherings like drinking tea together in the early morning or sharing a simple meal after work are enough to fill hearts with warmth. The simple joys of community and togetherness create a rhythm of life that feels steady and comforting. In a mountain village, people do not need much to be happy. Their happiness comes from knowing they are part of something larger than themselves, a circle of care and companionship that surrounds them every day. The bonds of community are like invisible threads weaving the village into one, and it is in these threads that the true beauty of mountain life lies. The harmony of daily life with nature in a Nepali mountain village is seen from the very first light of dawn. When the sun rises over the hills, its golden rays gently touch the rooftops and slowly spread across the terraced fields. Roosters crow to announce the morning, and birds begin to sing as if joining a natural orchestra. The people wake up with the rhythm of the earth, not with the loud ring of an alarm, but with the soft call of the natural world. Women step out with baskets to fetch fresh water, men prepare to tend the animals, and children stretch their sleepy bodies under the cool morning breeze. Everything begins in harmony, without rush, without force, as if nature itself is guiding the flow of the day. The villagers' routines are closely tied to the land. The fields are not just spaces for work, but living parts of their daily existence. Early mornings often find farmers carrying tools over their shoulders, walking barefoot along narrow paths lined with grass and flowers. The soil is soft beneath their feet, and the smell of earth after dew fills the air. They work patiently, guided by the movement of the sun and the sound of flowing water in the irrigation channels. Each task, from planting rice seedlings to pulling weeds or guiding oxen through the fields, is done in connection with the natural surroundings. There is no sharp separation between human life and the environment because both exist side by side, supporting each other in balance. Animals also form part of this daily harmony. Cows, goats, and buffaloes are cared for with affection, and their presence fills the courtyards with gentle sounds. The bells tied around their necks ring softly as they move, adding music to the atmosphere of the village. Children often help to take them out to graze on the hillsides, and in return, the animals provide milk, strength for farming, and warmth during cold nights. This relationship between people and animals is simple yet deeply meaningful, reminding everyone of the importance of respect and care for all living beings. Even dogs that wander freely in the village become loyal companions, walking alongside their owners as they travel to the fields or to the forest for firewood. The rivers and streams running through the valleys are more than sources of water. They are lifelines that connect daily work and relaxation. Women gather along the riverbanks to wash clothes, talking and laughing as the water rushes by. Children splash in the shallow pools, their carefree joy blending with the sparkling rhythm of the current. Farmers channel the water carefully into the terraces, ensuring that each step of the paddy fields receives enough to nourish the young rice plants. The sound of water flowing through the canals is constant, steady, and calming, always reminding the villagers of the gift of nature that sustains them. Even meals in the village reflect the harmony with nature. Fresh vegetables come directly from small gardens, rice from the terraces, milk from the cows, and herbs from the forest. Nothing travels through factories or long distances. When families sit together on mats to eat, they are sharing food that is grown, harvested, and prepared with their own hands. The connection to nature is not only outside in the fields, but also inside the home, nourishing the body with the pure taste of the land. Eating in this way deepens the gratitude toward the soil, the rain, and the sun that make every meal possible. As the day moves toward afternoon, the pace of life does not rush. Work continues in the fields, animals are fed, and children return from school walking through winding mountain paths surrounded by wildflowers. They carry books in their hands, but also carry the fresh air of the hills in their lungs. The evenings are gentle, with villagers gathering to rest after their tasks are complete. The sky changes its colors slowly, painting the mountains in shades of orange, pink, and purple. Families sit together outside their homes, enjoying the cool air while watching the last light of the sun fade into the horizon. When night comes, the harmony with nature does not disappear. Instead, it deepens. Without the blinding glow of city lights, the sky reveals countless stars, bright and near, making the heavens feel like part of the village itself. The chirping of crickets and the occasional call of an owl fill the silence, and the cool mountain breeze flows gently through the alleys. Children fall asleep listening to these sounds, and the entire village seems wrapped in a peaceful blanket made by the night. The cycle continues day after day, with each sunrise and sunset weaving together human life and natural life into a rhythm that feels timeless. True happiness found in simplicity, not modern rush, is one of the most precious lessons that life in a Nepali mountain village teaches. The people who live there do not measure happiness by the size of their houses, the number of cars, or the latest gadgets. Instead, happiness is woven into the daily rhythm of life, into small acts of kindness, into the feeling of being connected with one another and with nature. A morning that begins with the sight of the sun rising over the hills, birds gliding across the sky, and the aroma of freshly cooked food drifting from the kitchen already feels complete. Villagers find joy in these ordinary moments, moments that do not require money or possessions, but simply an open heart to feel their beauty. Children in the village are perhaps the best examples of this happiness. They play freely without expensive toys, inventing games from stones, sticks, and pieces of cloth. Their laughter rings out in the courtyards, echoing through the fields, and they are content with the simplest of things, like climbing a tree or chasing dragonflies across the paddy terraces. The joy they carry does not come from screens or electronics, but from their bond with each other and with the natural world around them. They grow up learning that fun is not bought but created, that imagination is more powerful than possessions. Their smiles remind everyone that happiness is not complicated. It is simple, pure, and close to the heart. Adults, too, show how happiness can live in simplicity. Farmers spend their days tending to crops, working in muddy fields, guiding animals, and collecting firewood. The work is hard, yet they do it with songs on their lips and smiles on their faces. The satisfaction comes not from wealth, but from the knowledge that their efforts will provide food for their families and for the community. Sitting under a tree to rest after hours of work, drinking cool water carried from a nearby stream, feels more rewarding than any luxury. Sharing a bowl of rice or a cup of tea with a neighbor becomes a moment of joy because it is filled with connection and care. In these acts, life feels rich even though material possessions are few. Festivals in the village also highlight the beauty of simple happiness. People dress in their traditional clothes, gather together in open courtyards, and celebrate with songs, dances, and shared meals. Decorations are made from flowers, leaves, and handmade crafts rather than expensive items, Yet the atmosphere shines with more joy than any city party. The dances are energetic, the songs are heartfelt, and the food is made with love. Everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest grandparent, participates, and the happiness comes not from grand displays, but from being together, celebrating life as one family. These festivals show that joy grows when it is shared, and that true richness is measured in laughter, not in money. The elders of the village carry wisdom about this kind of happiness. They often sit outside their homes in the evenings, watching the sun set behind the mountains, their faces calm and content. They tell stories to the children, passing down lessons about patience, respect, and gratitude. Their eyes sparkle not because of wealth, but because they have lived lives filled with togetherness and balance with nature. They teach by example that happiness is not in chasing more, but in appreciating what is already there. Their presence alone becomes a gentle reminder that life's greatest treasures are not things but experiences, memories, and relationships. Simplicity also shapes the way villagers interact with time. In modern life, people often rush, running after schedules, appointments, and deadlines. But in the mountain village, time flows with nature. Work follows the sun and the seasons, meals follow hunger, and rest follows fatigue. There is no constant pressure to do more, no endless competition to be faster. Life is lived at a pace that allows people to notice the song of a bird, the sound of the river, or the laughter of a child. This slower pace nurtures peace in the heart, and in that peace, happiness blossoms. Even challenges in the village reveal the strength of simple happiness. When hardships come, such as poor harvests or illnesses, people lean on each other for support. They share what little they have, and the burden feels lighter because it is carried together. Struggles are not seen as reasons to despair, but as opportunities to grow closer, to remind each other that life is easier when lived side by side. This resilience, built on simplicity, keeps the spirit of the community strong. It shows that even in difficult times, happiness can still exist because it comes from bonds, not from things that can be lost. True happiness in simplicity is not loud or dazzling. It does not demand attention or show itself off. It lives quietly in the way villagers wake with the sunrise, work with their hands, share meals with their families, sing while planting rice, and rest under star-filled skies at night. It lives in every smile that is exchanged without reason, every act of kindness that expects nothing in return, and every breath of clean mountain air that fills the lungs. It is happiness that flows naturally from life itself, happiness that grows stronger the less it is chased, happiness that belongs to everyone willing to see beauty in small things.